You didn't grow up too fast. You were pushed into it, and no one ever asked what it cost you. It begins so quietly, almost invisible. At 7 years old, you're looking into the eyes of a parent who's unraveling. Maybe it's addiction, maybe it's anger, or just an empty silence from someone too broken to be present. And without a single word, something ancient shifts inside you. If I don't hold this together, no one will. That's the moment a child starts to disappear. Not in body, but in mind. They smile more, cry less. They learn to read the room before they ever speak. They become the emotional thermostat of the entire house. They turn into small adults long before they're ready. And the world rewards them for it. You're so mature, so responsible, so strong. But no one stops to ask, at what cost? This is the silent grief of those who had to grow up too soon. And today, we're going deeper, into the psychology of that child. Because this doesn't disappear with time. It shapes you. It follows you into relationships, into your work, into how you see your own worth. And if you never understand what happened, you'll spend your entire adult life repeating the same patterns, the ones that once protected you, but are now slowly destroying you. So let's look at what's really happening, developmentally. When a child is forced to emotionally support a parent instead of being supported themselves, psychologists call this parentification. It's when the child becomes the caregiver, the one who keeps the peace, the one who absorbs the chaos, the one who protects everyone else. And this isn't just unhealthy, it rewires the brain. Because when you're constantly responsible for emotional stability, yours or someone else's, your system adapts. It creates something called hypervigilance. You're always scanning for danger, for tension, for the slightest shift in mood. You walk on eggshells. You learn something dangerous, that love is a transaction. You give calm, and maybe you get safety. You learn that your needs are risky, and theirs, urgent. So you disappear. Not physically, but emotionally. And in that empty space, a different version of you begins to form, one that performs. You become the good child, the quiet achiever, the friend everyone leans on, the one who never needs anything. And you wear that identity so well, even you start to believe it. You forget, it was never who you truly were. But underneath it all, something still hurts. Something keeps aching, because the child you buried never disappeared. They're still there, silent but screaming. Why didn't anyone protect me? As you grow older, it doesn't get simpler. It gets more complex. You become hyper-independent. You push people away, refuse help, struggle to feel safe in love. Moments that should feel good feel empty, because joy feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, even dangerous. Rest becomes difficult, because being productive is the only time you feel worthy. And the hardest part? You might not even realize you're still in survival mode. Because when chaos is normal from the very beginning, your nervous system accepts it as baseline. Peace feels off. Stillness feels wrong. Love feels like something you'll eventually have to repay. This is what happens when a child is forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness, it's something deeper, a kind of complex trauma that reshapes how you see the world and how you see yourself. So why would a child take on all of this? Because a child will do anything to stay connected, even if it means abandoning themselves. It's not a conscious decision. It's biological. When safety is missing, the child trades authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness, that's intelligence, that's survival. But here's the tragedy. What protected you back then is now trapping you. So many people walk through life like this, high functioning on the outside, but inside, their inner child is still in control. You overachieve to earn love. You stay quiet to avoid rejection. You take care of everyone while secretly wishing someone would finally ask, "Are you okay?" And that quiet hope, that someone will notice you're not as strong as you seem, that maybe you'll finally be allowed to fall apart and be held. That need, it doesn't belong to your adult self. It belongs to the child who never got to be one. Healing doesn't start with fixing. It starts with seeing. Because until you face what actually happened, you'll keep minimizing it, telling yourself, it wasn't that bad. Others had it worse. I turned out fine. But fine is just another mask, and deep down, you know it. So what happens to that child when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in calm rooms. They become partners who don't trust softness. They become givers who don't know how to receive. They apologize for crying. They flinch at compliments. They mistake exhaustion for success. This is the real cost of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood taught you to be strong instead of soft, to stay quiet instead of being honest, to fix everyone else while ignoring yourself, then what kind of life do you step into? A life where you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone. Waiting for someone to finally give you permission to fall apart. But here's the truth. No one is coming to rescue the child you buried. That's your role now. You're the one who has to go back. Take their hand. You're the one who has to say what no one ever did. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child. You're allowed to rest now. This is where real healing begins. Not fixing, not performing, not covering the pain with fake positivity, but turning toward the parts of you that were left behind and saying, I see you now. I hear you now. I'm not leaving. That's reparenting. And it's not gentle, because it asks you to feel everything you once had to ignore. The grief, the anger, the emptiness, the needs that were never met. It asks you to mourn what you lost, to grieve the moments no one showed up, to feel the weight of protecting people who were supposed to protect you. And that pain isn't weakness. It's proof that something frozen inside you is finally starting to melt. Now look at how this shows up later in life. Quietly, subtly, but everywhere. You become the therapist in every friendship, but never let anyone truly see you. You're praised for being independent, while secretly you're terrified of needing anyone. In relationships, you overgive, you fix, you manage, you explain too much. And somewhere inside, resentment builds. You struggle to say no, because it still feels like betrayal. But these aren't personality traits. They're survival patterns, learned, conditioned. And the good news? They can be unlearned. But only when you stop worshiping your strength and start listening to your wounds. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is, what did I need that I never received? And the answers might sound like this. I needed someone to say it wasn't my fault. I needed someone to ask how I felt. I needed to play, to rest, to feel safe without earning it. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself. Not to rewrite the past, but to stop reliving it. This is how you stop searching for parents inside your relationships. This is how you stop confusing anxiety with intuition. This is how you stop running from who you were and who you're becoming. As Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how irrational, to avoid facing themselves. But this work requires you to face it all. The neglected parts, the ashamed parts, the scared ones, the angry ones. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you had to become someone else. So if you grew up too fast, hear this. Your maturity was never the problem. The problem was you didn't have a choice. But now you do. You can choose softness. You can choose rest. You can stop carrying everyone else and start showing up for yourself. And no, It won't happen instantly. There will be days you feel like that child again. Good. That means you're getting closer. Let them come back. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them finally be seen. You're not broken. You're becoming whole. And maybe, for the first time, you're finally growing the way you were meant to. Not through pressure, not through fear, but through truth. You didn't get the childhood you deserved, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to choose it. You get to shape it. You get to write it.